I grew up with a sense of loss that never really left me. My mom passed away when I was just a baby, and all I had were fragments of stories my dad would tell me about her, about how she was kind, vibrant, and the kind of woman who made everyone around her feel seen. My dad would often talk about how they met, how she lit up his life, and how he felt complete with her by his side. It felt like a fairy tale. But that was all I had. Just stories and old photos. Dad raised me on his own, and while life was tough, it was also simple. He ran a small auto shop, working long hours, often coming home late. I'd spend my afternoons sweeping floors and handing him tools just to be around him. We had our routine, our rhythm, and for me, it was enough. Dad worked hard to make sure we had a roof over our heads, and despite the long hours, I always knew he was doing it out of love. But then came Amy. Amy was the kind of woman who walked into a room and immediately caught everyone's attention. She was younger than my dad, only about 10 years older than me, and she had this smile that could disarm anyone. She started working in the shop one summer to help my dad with the bookkeeping, and it didn't take long for them to become close. I could see how smitten he was, and after a few months, they got married. Amy moved in, and that's when everything started to change. At first, I thought she was just being nice, but it didn't take long for her to reveal another side of herself. She began calling the shots, telling me what I could and couldn't do. No longer was I allowed to help at the shop. No longer was I part of the daily routine. It was as if she was slowly but surely replacing me with herself. And I couldn't help but feel it. Every little comment, every little action pushed me further away from the father I'd always been close to. She told Dad that we needed to move to a bigger house. She said it was for the family's future, but I knew something was off. Amy wasn't just interested in a bigger house, she wanted control. She slowly started convincing Dad to invest more and more in her relatives' businesses, from a chain of coffee shops to a series of overpriced beauty salons. They were failing businesses, but Amy convinced Dad that they were the future. As the years went on, I became more and more sidelined in my own life. When I was 18, everything came crashing down. My dad was diagnosed with a rare, aggressive form of cancer. The doctors gave him just a few months. I was devastated, but it wasn't just the disease that broke me. It was watching Amy take over everything. She convinced my dad to rewrite his will, leaving her the house, the shop, and all the investments he'd made over the years. I wasn't even mentioned. And on my 18th birthday, she kicked me out. "It's time for you to go," she said coldly, not even offering me a place to stay. I was forced to move in with my best friend, Taylor, and start over. I took up a job as a mechanic, trying to build my life again. Then I met Olivia. She was kind, witty, and had a way of seeing through the chaos of the world. With Olivia, I found comfort, and I began to dream again. But Amy was still out there, still meddling in my life. I learned that her business empire wasn't just a series of failing salons. She had turned several of her properties into private clubs that catered to high-profile clients. The more I learned, the more disgusted I became. Then came the tipping point. I ran into Olivia's older brother, Jake, one night while having drinks at a bar. He was a bit rough around the edges, covered in tattoos, his hands calloused from years of hard labor. But when I mentioned Amy's name, he stiffened. "You don't know the half of it," he said. It turned out that Amy had been having an affair with Jake for months. Not only that, but she was using him to cover up her failed marriage to my dad. She'd been running around behind my dad's back, using her charm to manipulate him into giving her everything while she built her secret world. Jake wasn't just a guy Amy used for her personal pleasure. He had dirt on her too, secrets that would ruin her career. When I heard about the lengths she'd gone to, I knew it was time for payback. Jake, who had always been loyal to Olivia, agreed to help me expose her. Together, we set up a plan. Jake managed to get a recording of Amy in one of her private clubs, boasting about her illicit deals with high-end clients. She even bragged about using my dad's money to finance the operation, completely disregarding him as if he were just a stepping stone. I could hardly believe what I was hearing, but I knew this was my chance. We edited the footage down to a short, incriminating clip, just enough to destroy her. Then came the perfect opportunity. Amy was hosting a fundraiser for her latest project, a women's empowerment initiative that would give her a political platform. It was all a lie. The event was packed with influential people, and when she took the stage to deliver her speech, I slipped in quietly, holding a portable projector and Bluetooth speaker in my bag. As she spoke about the great things she was doing, I pressed play. The video started, and her voice filled the room, followed by the unmistakable sound of her bragging about using people and exploiting my dad's legacy. The crowd went dead silent as the footage played, showing her corrupt deals and betraying actions. The shock on her face was priceless. I grabbed my bag, slipped out the back, and met up with Olivia in the car. We didn't need to say anything. The damage was already done. The aftermath was swift. Amy's reputation was torn apart, her political aspirations were shattered, and her businesses crumbled. People started distancing themselves from her, and the secrets she'd kept hidden for so long finally saw the light. I didn't want to watch her suffer, but I couldn't help but feel a sense of justice. It was the right thing to do. My father's hard work, his legacy, wasn't hers to claim. I didn't get much from my dad's estate, but he left me something more valuable than money. The strength to stand up for what's right, to not let anyone walk all over me. In the end, that was the true inheritance. As for Amy, she lost everything. She tried to rebuild, but without her manipulation and deceit, the pieces never quite fit back together. I moved in with Olivia, and we started planning our future. Life felt whole again.